Welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy that you have joined me this evening, Friday evening. Yes, I'm here on a Friday evening on the hopefully a cool weekend for some of you. 7 p.m. as always. And I was talking to a guest yesterday, Jim Babka, and we were talking about values and tests and quizzes. And I just thought the conversation was very good. And lots of people enjoyed the conversation. And I know that I've taken quizzes in the past, and the glory of why do I always bug you guys to take quizzes, right? Why do I keep doing it? And I do it every single show. Well, Larry, because they're your sponsor and you want to support the show. Yes, that's true. But why did I pick these people as sponsors, right? So why did I pick them as sponsors and why do I care so much? Because these quizzes actually push a lot of very good conversation and some introspection. If you take it and talk to your friends about it, life is good. That's awesome. But if your friends take it and they're by themselves in front of their computer or on their phone and they're taking it, they're thinking about issues too. So I talked about the world's smallest political quiz 1,000 times. I'm also going to bring up the political affiliation quiz. This one is another quiz. It's a little bit longer. It isn't a crazy long one. It's a little bit longer. It's not nutty, but it does also make you think not just about your values, but how you want things to happen in your world. And that's what I kind of want to talk about a bit today, right? I do appreciate that. Andrea says, I took the new test, I like the questions. Good. Okay, so we're going to do it right now. We're going to talk about it because I think you may enjoy it, Andrea. We're going to actually chat about those questions. And I'm going to pick it up right now if I can. See if I can pick it up here, and we will actually. There we go. There's the actual a piece right there. Which party holds your values, right? Which parties hold your values? Lepke goes, the questions are leading. Let me try to be fair on this. It's hard to make the questions fair because each individual person is going to think a different way. So it's challenging to do so, right? But it also may make you think differently, and that's also about. Let's go down, and you tell me if you can all tell me if you think that they are or they aren't. Let's just do it. All right, first question. I believe that self-expression is more important than self-control. That is a hard question. Because I do think self-expression is really important. It's part of how you become happy, right? By expressing yourself in the way you want to. At the same time, if you have no self-control, well, aren't you going to hurt others? Aren't you going to be, odds are, not 100%, but isn't the odds of your success and happiness, doesn't it go down if you have less self-control? The question becomes, I think, and this is how I read this, and Lepke, if you think that's leading, I don't feel this one's leading. I feel it's trying to get you to think which one is more important. And if I got to pick which one's more important, personally, I probably would go on a personal level more towards my own self-control. But it would be light, it'd be slight. But as society, I'm going to go the opposite. I think more self-expression. We have to encourage self-expression, but not at a sacrifice of self-control. So you can see the left, it says, strongly disagree, mildly disagree, slightly agree, moderately agree, strongly agree. I'm actually going to go in this case. I believe that self-expression is more important than self-control with a slightly agree. I think it's more important, but self-control also matters. So that's where I'm going there. Men and women each have different roles to play in society. I think, yes, that's true. And it makes some of you be angry when I say that, but I do believe that to be true. But there's a big however. It doesn't mean those roles have to be in concrete. And it doesn't mean that every male or every female has to follow that. But I think we do. I think you find it often. I think it's simply a fact. So I agree, but not aggressively, meaning that if people want to change those roles, go ahead. I'm not going to fight you with that self-expression thing, right? You can if you want to, right? You can. But I do think there are different roles. I'm torn between slightly agree and moderately agree. I'm going to go with slightly agree. Ugh. I'm torn on this one. I could go either way. I'm going to go with slightly agree. Yeah, because I think it can easily bounce back and forth, right? I think it can. So yeah, I am going to go. Hold on. I'm going with. Let me go back. Slightly agree. There we go. All right. Next, I think it's wrong that some inherit a lot of money while others inherit nothing. The hard part about this question is the word wrong. That's hard. You know, because if saying wrong as in bad, I do think it's bad. I wish people would inherit more money, right? So I emotionally, I do wish people would all inherit lots of money. That would be great. But I don't think it's wrong. You shouldn't punish somebody because they happen to have wealthy parents or a wealthy family, right? I don't want to punish, but I do feel bad. I wish people who inherit nothing would inherit something. That would be nice, getting something from their parents or from their family. So that's why the way it's worded, I don't think it's, Lepke, you're saying that questions are leading. I feel like the reverse, they're wide open, because how do you make the question actually work unless in your own head you define wrong in a certain way? So do I define wrong as it's bad that it happens, like it's morally wrong that it happens? Then I would have a more agreeable, I'd be more towards agree because I don't like it. But do I think it's wrong in that someone should be punished because of it or something like that? Not at all. I'd go towards disagree, right? Because I don't think you should be punished for it, but do I feel bad? Of course I do. So I'm torn on this one. It's got to be slightly, right? I don't know which one I'm going to go with here. I could go slightly disagree or agree, but I'm going to go with wrong as in it's bad. So I'm going to go with slightly agree, even though I could easily go slightly disagree, depending on how we did it. So I think that's a tough one. Thinking about global climate change, I am concerned for the future of humanity. I agree. I am concerned. I agree. I know some of you think I'm crazy. I am concerned. I am concerned. I prefer to try new restaurants that serve food from different cultures. I do, but I don't do it often, so I can't go to strongly agree. I'm not the kind of guy who rushes to make that happen. But if you're like, hey, Larry, there's a new restaurant, will you go? I'll go, yeah, sure. Yeah. But I don't rush to do it. So I'm going to go with slightly agree, because I don't run to do it. It's not a thing that I do. In a fair society, I'm already triggered with the word fair, right? I'm already triggered. In a fair society, everyone would end up with roughly the same amount of money. I disagree with that. I mean, I don't think, first of, how does everyone end up? How do you define end up? Is it by the time you died? Is it by the time you're an adult? And then no, because some people, money's more important, right? You know your level of how hard you're prepared and what you're prepared to do to get your money. And that's a different level than others. Some will do a whole lot more. Some will do a whole lot less, because you decide on that, right? You decide how much you want to spend in time of money and energy and everything else to get more money, right? So I can't agree with this. I'm going to go with disagree. I disagree with this. I am proud of my country's history. I am. I'm still a Marine. I'm still American, and I am. I can't go to strongly agree, because there are some terrible pieces about our country that have been bad. So I can't rush to strongly agree, but I do agree. I am proud of my country's history. So I'm going to go with agree. It is acceptable to discriminate when choosing one's friends. I think yes. But again, are we saying acceptable, right? I think this is better, right? Wrong is better than acceptable. Means to me, do I feel? And that's a clearer question. Discriminate, yes. But do they mean discriminate as in, I don't want to hang out with any, I don't like hanging out with Dominican people. I just insult Dominican people now. Whatever. I happen to love Dominicans. I'm just playing. Anyway, but I think that's not acceptable in my opinion. So I think we can discriminate, yes, but I think it's not acceptable to do it based upon arbitrary things. That's the wrong word. I guess maybe what's the phrase that you'll hear people use? Immutable characteristics. Like it should be legal and is not is legal. Yes, for friendship, it should be legal for you to be as bigoted as you want to be. In my view, that's unacceptable. I think you shouldn't be bigoted, but you can. And there should not be a law to stop you from being bigoted in your friendships. So that's where I have to say is acceptable. I would say I agree. You should be able to. But I'm not going to go with strongly agree because acceptable again, in my view, I don't think you should be saying, well, that guy, whatever is, he's a Protestant. I don't like Protestants. So I'm going to go with moderately agree. But I do agree. You should be able to discriminate and hang out with who you want to hang out with. That's our First Amendment, freedom of association. You got to be able to hang out with whoever you want to hang out with. I wish the world did not have nations and we were all part of one big group. I mean, no, I disagree with that. There's a however, though, again. And I hope you're all enjoying this conversation, because would it be nice if we could be one kumbaya world? It feels good, but I can't imagine it ever being anything but terrible, right? Like imagination, in my imagination, magical unicorn land where leprechauns ride unicorns. Yeah, it would be nice. We're all the same. We hold hands and we sing kumbaya and there's no need for anything, I guess. But then what's the one big group? Is the big group a political group? Is it just we're all humans? If you were to say again, I'm going with the fantasy world here. If it's a fantasy world with no borders and no nations, and the group we're part of is just the human race, and that's it, not a bad deal, right? If that were the magical world. Or are they saying it's one government? There's no nations because the one big group is one government. Yeah, that's a thing, right? I'm worried about that one. So I agree. I'm torn on this one. Part of me says I'd like to have it where there's no borders and we're all wonderful and we all love each other, right? Because it says I wish. There's another thing, right? Are we talking now? Now, absolutely not. Now, if it's now, I totally disagree. If it's wish, magical unicorn world, maybe, right? I mean, am I making sense here with my conversation? I'm going to assume with this question, they mean today, now. If they mean today, now, I have to go disagree because this would be a terrible idea now. However, and this is just for you to know, if we could do the magical world, I'm in, right? If it's the magical world, I'm in. The real world, I got to disagree. Yeah, I got to disagree. In this country, personal choices in life are the primary reason why someone is poor. Primary reason, yes. Not the only reason, right? There are always other things. Where you're born, who are your parents. There's always other issues, social issues, systems, all types of reasons that you could be poor. But I think personal choices, are primary. I think that is, but I don't want to go strong agree or even moderately agree because there are other factors that also come into play. I think I could have been a whole lot richer, a whole lot faster had I had different parents. And I don't necessarily mean wealthy parents. That, of course, would have made it much easier if I was wealthy. But my parents didn't understand how to make money very well. They weren't very good in understanding money. If I had parents who had, were that way and would have taught me how to handle money and do the right thing, I probably would have been, you know, I think I would have probably made more money faster. So maybe, but I agree. Personal choices are the primary reason. So I'm going to slightly agree because there are so many other things that will also do it. But your actions matter. Of course they do. I would rather watch an action film than a documentary. That's never been true for me. I'll disagree. That's never been true for me. I like action films. I do. But I've always liked documentaries better, more. And the action movies I like are based upon its history. So I like those too. There would be less crime if lawbreakers were punished more severely. Strongly disagree. That's not true at all. There's no evidence of that. That's absolutely not true. You don't need to punish them severely. You need to punish them, but the severity is irrelevant. We used to have people who literally, they'd be hanging them. And while they're hanging, people will be pickpocketing. No, not at all. Respect for authority is something all children need to learn. Now, how do I deal with this one? I don't respect much authority, and I don't want my kids to, but I don't want them to flout it because it gets them put in jail. So there's a level of respect you kind of have to have to survive in the world without being put in jail, able to have a job and such. So I think there is a level of respect that children need to learn, but that's not primary, right? I mean, in my view, some of you would disagree, obviously. I do think kids need to understand what authority is, because if you don't, you're going to wind up getting yourself in real trouble. And even if I don't like the authority figures that are in my life, sometimes I should shut up and just do what they say, right? I think you have to. Does respect for authority mean you can't question authority, right? This is where this one's a tough one for me. This is a tough one. Respect for authority is something all you need to learn. I think what they mean is respect my authority. So I'm going to go with disagree, but slightly, because you do want to understand that there are authority figures in your world that you should depend on, and you should deal with that, right? I think you do have to respect it. So I'm going to go with, I could go with slightly agree or disagree. I'm going to go with slightly disagree. I can go either way. Either way. I value conventional norms that are tried and true. I slightly agree. I'm not a big conventional norms guy, to tell you the truth. I'm not, as you can tell. But I'm not against them. And I don't want to throw people under the bus, and I respect people for being more conservative. I'm going to go with slightly agree. Because you should do you, right? You should do you. There is no price too high to provide a quality education to children. I disagree. There is a price too high, and I don't trust people to give it. So no, that's disagree. I just don't. Our education system is bad, right? And no, kids can learn without it being very expensive at all. I prefer whole natural foods that are organic or non-GMO. Yeah, but I'm not crazy that way, right? Like if I have a choice, I don't shop that often. My wife does most of the shopping for the house. We have a much more of a traditional, more conventional marriage. And my wife is still the primary caregiver of our children and does most of the shopping. I shop too, take care of the kids also, but she does the lion's share of it. So I prefer, but it's not a big deal, if that makes sense for me. I don't know how you guys feel. Some I'm sure will go. So I'm going to go with slightly agree. So I covered all of those. Let me grab some comments real fast before I go to the next group. There's some other questions. Let me go to some comments if I could. A lot of you guys are commenting on these things. So, all right. Torrance says, everyone has different roles in society. That was my point, Torrance. It's why I didn't push hard on that one. I was slight because I do think still to this day, most males and females have different roles, right? Generally speaking, most of the more violent jobs tend to be male. Most of the more helping jobs still tend to be female. So I think we do have that. But I don't I don't care if we change those norms, those roles, right? If a male wants to have a more traditionally female job, okay. If a female wants to have more of a traditional male job, okay. It doesn't bother me either way. I do think it's kind of true, though, that it still exists. So, yeah. David says, same here on self-control. I slightly agree. Thank you, David. See, I thought that was also a tough one, right? Self-control matters and self-expression matters. Both of them do. That's a hard one for me to go either way. I don't want to go, no self-control, just do crazy stuff. At the same time, I mean, look, if you're going to be free, you have to have responsibility too, right? With freedom comes responsibility. I think both. Lepke says, I took the test a few months ago, was different. Okay, so it's a better one now. See the political affiliation quiz at the bottom? Click that link, and you could go take it yourself. Absolutely. David says, it seems that these questions are geared towards moving people towards the Democratic Party. Oh, maybe. Is that what you saw? Other people think the same thing? I didn't see that, David, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Odin's Child says, strong disagree, but this seems to be more your lineage and family. Oh, I think because, yeah, you know, I think that was a torn one too, right? Your family does matter. It does. But so do your personal choices, right? I think both of those, right? They both matter, right? That's the issue. So, Torrance, I always agree with the food. Thank you. I appreciate that's good. Yes. James says, I still don't understand how trying out foods from cultures is relevant to politics. And I've done political quizzes in my spare time over the years. I think this test is asking questions on like your preferences in general on things. And that's a second level, which then says, okay, now how do you implement those? I think that's what we're talking about. So yeah, absolutely. Torrance says, I'm proud of our country's progress. Me too, Torrance. I am proud of our country. I know there are things that are bad in our country. That's true. And we've done some bad things. Our country absolutely has. As a nation, we've done some bad things. That's true. It doesn't mean I'm not proud. I am, right? We've done bad things with our minorities, and we've been great with our minorities. We've done bad things overseas, and we've done great things overseas. We've done both without question. So I do think that I'm proud, and we should be proud. That's my view. I know there are many people who would disagree with me. I think I'm proud. I'm with you, Torrance. I think we've done a lot. I agree. Yes. And then he goes on to say, let bigots be bigots. You know, I say this constantly. If someone is going to be a bigot, I'd rather know they're going to be a bigot. I'd rather be able to see who they are and talk to them and see if I can change their mind, or at least stay away, right? One or the other. Oh, the child's like, New World Order, never. And that was my point. My point wasn't now, right? My point was, is it a magical world, right? In the magical unicorn world, there's no New World Order, right? So I tried to be clear on what I was saying, right? Today, if it was now, it's no, which is why I wouldn't disagree, because I was assuming they meant now, not my magical future world. That's what I assumed. So Lepke adds, there's a lot of howevers in these quizzes. Yes, some of the questions have no clarification. Agreed completely. Yes. And of course, the perfect world, we get, David, I like to give the world a Coke. And then Ryan, original Coke. Yes, absolutely. The Knight says, humans are tribal, it would never work. Well, I think in today's world, that's true. Right? The Eumelanin Knight says humans are tribal, it would never work. I think that's true today again. But this was the question was phrased with the word wish. So that's why I assumed that, or thought maybe it was a magical world. And if it's a world where humans have decided that violence is not the answer, tribalism is fine. If we're not fighting each other, if we're trading with each other for things, I don't mind tribalism, right? Tribes don't have to fight. They do and can, but they don't have to. And there are times when tribes don't fight. So if you have the unicorn world of tribes, so what? Tons of tribes. Let's not fight. We want things, we trade, we talk, we agree. We make contracts with each other, and we have our tribes, and we're happy in our own way. I do my thing, you do your thing, you do you, I do me. So I think, yeah, that's it. So, yes. Torrance says, the question is asked, do you believe in global collectivism? Then it would be no, right? Then it would be no. Yes, absolutely. All right, let me keep going here if I can. All right. Larry's between Utopia, and he would agree. Yeah, yes. No to global socialism. Thank you. No to global socialism. That is true. Absolutely. Absolutely true. Yes. Andrea says, questioning authority while giving respect to others. I like that, but that wasn't part of the question. But yes, Gene says you can respect authority and still question it. That's why I went to slightly agree. I think you're right, Gene. You do want to respect it. You don't want to not respect it, right? Because you get yourself in trouble. But you still want to question it. Absolutely. Yes. So yes. All right. The Apple OS says, I respect but don't agree. I like that. Yes. Authority killed Kenny. Nice, South Park. I love that. I like that. Yes. Ryan says, respect is earned. There we go. That's good. Okay. All right. Let me go to the next one if I can. That was the first part of it. There's a second part. I said this is a little bit longer and it's interesting. Let me go to the next set of questions. All right. If I believed I would never be caught, I would steal from a stranger. You know, the funny part is when I was a teenager, a rebellious teenager, I shoplifted before. And it sounds horrible, but I did. But the fact that I might get caught was actually one of the reasons why I did it. I know it sounds insanely stupid, but if you were a rebellious teenager, you know what I'm talking about. That's what made me feel powerful and strong and cool and slick. So I don't think the idea of never being caught, that the times when I was dumb and rebellious, and by the way, now I would never do it. I would never do it now. I'm insanely straight-laced now. But as a rebellious teen, if I thought I'd never get caught, I probably wouldn't have stolen. I think that was part of my rebellion, right? Was doing that. So I don't know. I'm going to have to go with strongly disagree because I just wouldn't do it, right? I would not do it. So no, I would never do it. In getting what I want, it is sometimes necessary to initiate force against others. I mean, the only time that would be true would be if the person, like I was starving to death or something. Right? I'd have to be starving to death in some way, shape, or form. That some guy would be holding out and not letting me eat food or something. That's it. I mean, it's clearly disagree. The question is it moderate or strong? I mean, I have to go strong, right? Because the only time I'd ever want to initiate force is like if someone was starving me out or something. So strongly disagree. I can't think of any other time I'd want to do this, right? I'm going to grab a couple comments when you guys are already talking stuff. So let me try this already. So, all right. Sam says, I saw a good mix of conservatives and liberal in the first section, probably because I have a mix of both beliefs. Okay, so Sam doesn't think it's Democrat Party. I agree with you, Sam. I felt the same way. Yes. Torrance says, I'm not a thief. I have opportunities I could have gotten away with, but that's not me. I agree. I'm not at all. I'm just saying as a teen, I'm just being forward. I was not always a law-abiding citizen as a teen. I was not always a good kid. My father passed when I was young. I was a tad rebellious here or there. So yes, absolutely. So I feel suspicious when I walk out of the store without buying anything. I do now. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm just saying there was a time in my life when I wasn't that person, right? Michael says, no way, bro. I agree. I love that. Yes, absolutely. No way. 100%. So, all right. Michael says self-defense is different. See, I agree, right? So that's why I went with strongly disagree. I'm with you, Michael. I'm with you. All right. Next one. I think it's okay for a group of people to force a person how to behave. No, but again, the same issue, right? I guess because I'm so against it, I'm trying to figure out when would I actually do this. I'd only do it if I thought the person they're forcing is trying to hurt them, right? If someone was trying to steal their stuff and they said, stop it or we'll break your legs, well, yeah, don't steal people's stuff. You don't get your legs broken, right? So in that regard, I'd say, yeah, you could do it. but that'd be the only time. Otherwise, I'd be like, of course not. I should be forcing people how to behave. I mean, but there's other exceptions though, right? If the behavior is detrimental to me directly, right? I mean, I think, are we talking a society? I think we have to in a way, right? It's clearly disagree. The question is it strongly disagree or moderately disagree? I'm going to go with moderately because I think there are times when a society has to survive and force others to either leave would be one thing, right? You have to force someone out of your society if they didn't want to do what the society was saying of the community. I think you would have to force them out of the community. I'm not saying you have to force and hurt them or make them do something except leave. So maybe. Tough one. Things work best when we let individuals take responsibility for their own lives without telling them what to do. Well, yeah, right. And that's literally how we do stuff, right? It's always going to work better, right? Always. Doesn't mean it's perfect. It's not perfect, but it's always going to work better. So strongly agree, right? Because when we give them the opportunity, we start doing that. Yeah, I think we have to, right? We have to do it that way. Yes. I would use force against someone to get them to act in their own best interest. You know, maybe this is what you meant by leading questions, because these seem so impossible to me. I'm trying to find the time when I wouldn't strongly be against this, right? I'm trying to figure this thing out. I mean, like maybe my daughter runs in the street, I would grab her out of the street. In that case, yes, I would use force to physically take my daughter out of the street so you get hit by a car. In that specific case, I would. But unless it's that, no, I wouldn't. No. So I disagree. It's got to be strongly, right? I'm spending so much time trying to find a reason to validate the question in some other way. Otherwise, it just screams strongly disagree. Let me grab some of his comments. I guess, right? You just have to. So anyway, Sam says food equals culture equals diversity. Willingness to change versus conserve. Okay, that's why you were saying it. Okay, there we go. There we go. Missy says, if it was for safety and well-being of my family, loved ones, yes, I would steal if it could save their lives. I'm with you, Missy. That's why I was trying to find the when would you do it, right? Is it enough of a chance to do it that I would go moderate? And I guess maybe look, if someone grows up in an environment where theft is how they learn to survive and help their family, then they probably will go to a moderate versus strong. That's not where I grew up, so I'm going to go strong, right? But I could see why somebody would go only to moderate because they would say, wait a minute, look, I've been in trouble. I've had to do things. I could see that. But I couldn't go with someone saying, no, force is awesome. That I couldn't see. But could I see them not going strong because of their background? I could. I could see that. Absolutely. Yes. So, Torrance, if they're using force against me. Yeah, see, that's I agree. It's self-defense, right? That piece is the part. Yeah, absolutely. Gene says, my head almost exploded as I yelled no at my phone. Good ideas don't require force. Yes, I'm with you. Yes. David says, that would depend on forcing someone to behave, like on an airplane or in a church movie theater. See, that's why I went to moderate, David, because I think that's the point, right? There are times when I would, right? More often, right? If someone's going to, try to break open a window on an airplane and we all die. No, I'm going to force that guy to stop, right? We're all going to die. Force that guy to stop, right? So, yeah, that kind of thing. They duct taped that one guy to the seat because he was fighting everybody in the plane. Yep. Force for that guy, right? That kind of thing. Movie theater too. Shut up. I'm trying to watch the movie. Yeah, throw that guy out. So that's why I went to moderate versus strong because of those specific things. So I agree with you, Dave. There are certain pieces where it would make sense. So he says, forcing people to behave was a movie called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And yeah, I agree. Great movie, by the way. 70s, right, Shelley? 70s, Jack Nicholson. 70s. Great. Absolutely. Yes. Torrance says, I take that back. I was in a hard place and did the self-checkout scam for a pair of work pants from Walmart, but never from a small business individual. Walmart will get a business. Oh, Torrance, you are now doing the old, it's a selfless, it's a faceless company thing. I don't know. Yeah. But again, see, that's my point. Will you sometimes go to moderate based upon where have you been in your life, right? Where have you been in your life? That's going to change how you see that. Yeah. Owen Child says, yes, but in America, if you try to force anyone to leave, even if it's hurting, you're racist. Just make sure you only force people who are the same race as you. Problem solved. I'm teasing, of course, but you get my point. Just make sure that it's the same race and you'll be good. You're fine. Yes. So, yes. So let me keep going if I can. I would use force against someone to get them to act in their own best interest. I'm still going to go strongly disagree. I mean, there's a part of me that goes to moderate, but no, it's still strong. I don't want it, right? I don't. I think it's okay for a majority vote on how people must act or behave. I disagree, obviously, because majority, 51% now tell 100% people what to do. Of course, disagree. However, to be forward, while democracy is not perfect, it's still the best one we have right now. And I have got to come up with reasons. I still do want democracy compared to other things. There's always exceptions for rights. So I'm going to go with disagree because I don't think it's okay for majority, but I can't go with strong because I think of all the other ways, I can't find a better one. Right? I can't find a better way right now. So usually I would go to strongly, but in this case, I'm going to go with moderately disagree because I do think that voting is the best thing we have right now. I think that when voting, no issue should be off limits to the majority to decide. No issues. Clearly, again, disagree. There are issues that you shouldn't be. You should decide whether someone dies. You shouldn't be whether someone of a certain group doesn't get anything or can't pursue happiness. So obviously there are limits. The question is this strong or moderate? Again, because of the system that we have. Without the system of voting, what else do we do right now? And I guess what I'm saying is, in theory, in my theoretical world, this is a strongly disagree. In the practical world, I think it's a moderate disagree. Am I making sense with my logic in this? I'm not. Clearly, I can't be 100% against voting for things. Of course not. But I'm also against mob rule. So I go disagree, but I can't go strongly. I've got to go moderate. Oh, God, I want to go strong. This one's a hard one for me. Because right now with the current system, what's the other option? Corporatocracy? Oligarchy? Is that the answer right now we have? I mean, I don't like mob rule, but I don't like autocracy either. And if I have a choice between the two, I'd rather, if I only got two choices, mob rule or autocracy, I'd rather have the mob rule. It's like in the horribleometer, right? Which one's more horrible? It's a tough one. I disagree. So it's going to be disagree. The question is it strong or moderate? I'm going to take the wimp's way out. I'm going to moderate. I would be willing to ask someone else to do something for me. Disagree 100%. I would never do that. Strong disagree. Done. If I believe I would never be caught, I would steal from a loved one. Disagree. I would never do that. Nope. No way. Where do you consider yourself to be politically? Am I very liberal, very conservative, somewhat liberal, moderately conservative, slightly liberal, slightly conservative? Are we talking? I don't know. I feel like I'm in the middle. That's what I feel. What do you guys think? Clearly, I'm biased. I'm me. This is very hard for me to say. Do you guys think I'm more conservative or more liberal? I'll go with what you guys tell me, because I'm not sure here. I'm a bit torn on this one. I'm going to grab a couple other comments while people tell me what they think, because I'm torn on this one. So, James says, scamming a big corporation. I went in. Here we go. That's good. I like that. Yes. Sam says, the only time I could think of forcing someone else to behave was when I was a teacher and a kid was trying to harm him or herself physically. Yep. Use force to restrain someone, but that is super rare. Yes. Agreed, Sam. Right. I don't think there's a 100% rule, but it's a 90% rule, 99% rule. And then is that strong still, or is that moderate? I think that's the issue that I'm not sure. Right. That's an issue. Michael says that's called mob rule. There's a reason we are founded as a constitutional republic. You're correct, right? That's the issue, right? We tried to set up a system where voting would still mean the majority has power, but not too much power. Also, the right for the Bill of Rights to ensure that the majority won't have too much power. The Bill of Rights basically says there are certain things you can't vote on. So, yeah, I agree. That was my point. I disagreed, obviously. The question was, do I go strongly or moderate? Yeah, I agree. Owen says, so moderate, agree. I did too. Yes, absolutely. Sam says, I have several progressive friends who are 100% okay with forcing someone to behave for their own best interest. Yes, think mandates, 100%. Yes, I have many friends like that too, Sam. I'm with you. Yes, absolutely. So, all right. Let's see if I can go down here. The U Melanin Knight says, as a minority in so many ways, I can't trust the majority knowing what I need or want. I just want to disagree on that one. There we go. I like that. Yes. I like that one. So now, Owen Shaw says slightly conservative. Oh, for himself. Okay, I'm saying for me. Social liberal, physically conservative. There we go. I like that. Classical, yes. Michael says 100% moderate. That doesn't help. James says no centrism. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes. Test is for you, though. Yes. Turbine Guy says I'm more conservative. Okay, so maybe he thinks I'm more conservative. Torrance says I'm very liberal. Difficult to say. You come across me equally liberal and conservative in the topic. I pick slightly conservative. You come across slightly more liberal. So you guys didn't help me at all. Turbine Guy was first, so, but you both just said I was also liberal. I don't know. Oh, he said more liberal than me. Okay, there we go. More liberal than me. All right, so then I'll go slightly conservative. There we go. All right, done. Let's see what I got. How'd I do? I came up in the middle, not liberal. I was right. Look, I came up where I'm not. There we go. Right? I came up in the middle. You see where I came up right there, right? Where persuasion versus physical coercion. Am I Democrat, Republican, or liberal libertarian or conservative libertarian? I came up on the line right there. I am a moderate libertarian, almost all the way to it, but not there. So there we go. See, that was good. So why did I go through this test with you? That's what I came up with. There we go. So easy day. I gotta. I'm more of a liberal libertarian. I guess I'm close to liberal. See that? John Stewart, Bill Maher, Glenn Greenwald, and Angelina Jolie, I guess, are like me. That's kind of cool, I guess, right? I'm not a Bill Maher. Well, I watch Bill Maher, but anyway, I'm not sure if should I be proud of this or not? I'm not sure. So, but he's great. Mobile libertarians, here's little things you can go to, reading resources, the whole deal. And you can share it if you want to. Don't I always tell you to share it? You can share it if you want to. I bug you to share it. Go ahead and do that. See how easy that is? You can go ahead and share it. Tweet. Done. I just shared it. See? I did exactly what I said to do. You guys can follow the same thing if you don't mind. Why do I do this? Because here's something that's very important. If you have these conversations with yourself, with your friends, all of those things, what winds up happening is you're going to be better at talking about things, understanding what people actually expect from you, and hopefully having some respect for those people around you. As you hear me all the time, I'm trying to get everyone to have better conversations. That's the critical piece. I know some of you on the left are like, can't talk to those right people. And some of you on the right can't talk to those left people. They're our neighbors. They're our neighbors. We have to talk to them. If we don't talk to them, how are we going to turn them into being good libertarians? How are we going to have a good nation? How are we going to get past the tribalism, right, that the Melaninite talked about? How are we going to get past that tribalism if we can't talk to each other to trade so we don't have to fight each other? While quizzes like this can be fun, they can also be very good in getting people to talk. That's important. Keith says, very interesting to see Jon Stewart listed as such. Well, the thing about it is, what people often don't see in many comedians, there's a lot of comedians who have a libertarian streak in them, right? Bill Maher is one of them. Bill Maher is a total Democrat. No question, total Democrat. I'm just saying that in him, there is a streak of libertarianism that comes out usually, this is the funny part, when Democrats are in charge, right? When Democrats are in charge, I think the more liberal libertarians will come out because now their guy is on top casting the rules. And if you've been paying attention to Bill Maher, I've been watching him for years. Bill Maher has been a little bit more libertarian recently. He wasn't when Trump was president. He was all about Democrat, left, Bernie. He was socialist, right? When Trump was president. But now that Biden's president, he's actually fighting the power a little bit. He's still Democrat. I'm just saying relatively. There is some. I think Jon Stewart too, right? Remember, Jon Stewart's the one who was yelling, screaming about, Trump was right about the virus coming from China. This was Jon Stewart saying Trump was right. I'm going to say it again. That was Jon Stewart saying Trump was right. I didn't see that coming, and even he did. So I think many of them do have a streak of libertarianism in them. If we can draw it out, we can get that vote. That's the issue. If we can draw it out, that's the hard part, right? That's the hard part. But Chase has got it right. Half the conversation is listening. And if we can hear them, and something else, the reason why I like the questions, and Chase, to your point, if I'm mad at you, or I think you're some mean libertarian who wants to kill old people, or whatever I think, can I really listen to you? I can't. I think you're a bad guy. I think you're trying to hurt people. I can't listen to you. I'm just ready to just tell you how mean you are and get away from you. But if you focus it instead on the question, or focus it on the issue, or focus it on the problem, now I can listen to you because my focus isn't on Chase the bad libertarian. My focus is now on the question at hand, and maybe now I can hear you. Maybe now I can listen, right? The thing to remember, the difference between listening and hearing. Listening is hearing with focus, and the focus is on the other. That's when you're listening. When you're hearing with focus on the other, that's when you're listening. Otherwise, just hearing stuff. So I think you're right. And I think if we take this out of me and you, or he's the liberal or she's the conservative, then we can actually hear each other. So yes. Sully says, I'm an old school conservative, which means I can do whatever you want, that you can do whatever you want without hurting others or asking taxpayers to pay for your choices. Oh, you're libertarian, Shelley. I like that. Yes, absolutely. So Sam says, slightly more conservative for Larry because of family values. Yeah, you know what? That's true. I think you're right. I think it's probably true. I do tend to lean conservative on family values. That's true. Very much. That's yeah, good point. I did click conservative. Slightly conservative. I think you're right. I think that's a good point. You know me well, Sam. Thank you. Societal roles and limited government. Yep. I guess I would go there. Absolutely. Yes. Olden Child says, I talk to both, but within my tribe of friends and families, there is always a range of extreme right to extreme left. Yeah, I am with you. Yes, I have many issues. I remember talking to one of my family friends. We used to have, before the COVID lockdowns, we'd have like a Halloween party every Halloween, like a Super Bowl party, that kind of stuff. And one of the people who I often meet at that household, we were talking about the gentleman who, I always forget his name, who made the Silk Road. The young man, I've actually forgotten his name. I forget too often. I shouldn't. I should remember his name very well. Shame on me for not remembering him. Some of you will. But anyway, the guy who made Silk Road, and the guy got like 2 life sentences plus 90 years or some crazy thing like that. And I said, they ruined that guy's life. It's over. It's done. And she was like, yeah, good. And they should do the next guy too. Put them all in jail forever. She was like, any one of those cryptocurrency is evil. Cryptocurrency is wrong. Put them all in jail. And she was like, yeah, matter of fact, ruin all their lives. And the people around her, they weren't like, that's crazy. They were like, eh. They either were like, yes or whatever. I was the only one like, holy crap, really? Yeah. So I have some of those also. Yes, I'm with you. Nate says, like, comment, share, and listen. Absolutely, Nate, my brother. Thank you. Yes, don't forget, if you like what I'm doing, like and comment and share, please. And more importantly, take the political affiliation quiz, take it yourself, do what I did, and then share it, please. It makes my sponsors happy. It's free. Please do that. So is like, commenting, and sharing. If these conversations are valuable to you, please do that. I know they're valuable. You're watching. So please do that. If you have some cash, donate some money. Patreon.com/Sharpeway keeps my team paid. So if you can do that, that's awesome. If you can't, no worries. The quiz is free. You saw how long it takes. Now, I was talking a lot. You can do it yourself, probably 3 minutes. But if you're talking a lot, I'd actually rather you talk, but it's fine. Either way, 3 minutes to 10 minutes, maybe no more than that. And please like, comment, and share. It does matter. Thank you, Nate. I do appreciate it. Absolutely. There we go. Ross Ulrich. Thank you, Andrea. Yes, him. I was talking about that guy, and they were like, oh, my God. Oh, get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Absolutely. Yes. So, yes, that Silk Road situation was a travesty. So many other solutions to punish him for that crime. Yes, exactly. And the most important piece here in this specific case, he didn't actually sell anything personally. He basically just had the site that actually did, right? He had the site. That was the issue. And they put him away. And remember something. When you think about crimes, things that are against the law, if you really think about crimes, not as I hurt somebody or I stole something or anything like that, think about all crimes as heresy or sacrilege. I'm not joking. If you think about crimes as heresy or sacrilege against the church of the government, U.S. government, it will change how you think about crime. You will then understand what crime actually is. And you will then understand how horrible Ross's crime was. He got more time than murderers. He got more time than murderers. He got more time than people who've murdered multiple people. I'm not joking. That's real. He got more time, a deeper punishment than people who killed multiple times, right? You might say, Larry, it makes no sense. Ross didn't kill anybody. At worst, he was a semi-accomplice. At worst, and if you could even go there, that's probably too far of a stretch. That's like saying Google is an accomplice if you searched up to find out how to kill somebody and you killed somebody. Well, Google helped you out. I mean, it'd be like that. But even at that stretch, that's the worst he did. The problem is he was actually selling stuff and the government wasn't getting taxes. The government didn't know what was happening. That's heresy. That's sacrilege against the church that is the state. That's far worse than killing somebody who wasn't paying taxes anyway, or who might have been paying some taxes. Now, that sounds horrible, but you also know it's true. So if you look at crime that way, you will understand more about it, right? You will definitely you will understand it better. It will be easier or better for you to kind of get what's happening. So I hope that was clear. So yes. Michael says mandatory minimum sentences are they're building a prison for all. Mandatory minimum sentences are useless and are unconstitutional and wrong and bad and it should not exist. They should not exist. if you're going to have mandatory minimum sentences and a rubric to decide where someone, how much someone, time someone gets, why do you need judges at that point? Once the trial's over, use an algorithm. I'm not joking. Don't pay the judge. Use an algorithm then. If that's what you're going to do, mandatory minimums and rubrics, I don't need a judge for that. I just do an algorithm, type it into the thing, boom, done. That's the sentence. Move on. Way easier. Super easy. You'd still have a terrible system. The system's terrible now. It would still be terrible, but it'd probably be fairer because then the judge's biases wouldn't matter at all. Just put in an algorithm, it works. So yeah, I love that. So yeah. Sam says, can anyone imagine an analog equivalent? Someone has a car accident on the street, arrests all the people in town for creating the street. I like that. You all pay taxes to build this street. You're all going to jail as an accomplice. That's not a bad idea. I like that. Yes. David said he had the website and it wasn't Amazon or eBay. Yeah, see? There it is. There is yes. 100%. There's the issue. Yes. So Paula says, Ross said, the irony is that I made Silk Road in the first place because I thought it was furthering things I cared about. Freedom, privacy, equality. But by making Silk Road, I wound up in a place where these things don't exist. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yes. Because he was a heretic. Remember, the state and the system are always more important than you. I know that's terrible. All more important than you. But not in my eyes. Not in my eyes. You won't hear me talking that way at all. Guys, if you like what I'm doing, as always, please like, comment, and share. I appreciate it. Please do that. It is important. Like, comment, and share. It's the only way I get around the algorithms that always shadow ban me. If you like, if you comment, and you share, it gets me around it, and more people see it, and that's what matters. So please do that. Please take the political affiliation quiz and share it to make my sponsors happy. It's a great idea to do that. I'm going to be taking off here. I'm going to spend a weekend with my family. I'm away almost every other weekend that you see. This weekend is with my family. So I'm going to be doing that. I will see you all on Monday. I will see you all very soon.